Today, we're talking about income inequality in America and beyond and what the AI bubble has to do with that. So, we have this video right here for you.
The stock market has soared in recent years on the back of artificial intelligence. According to a recent JP Morgan study, the stocks of companies tied to AI have accounted for about 75% of the S&P 500's returns since November 2022 when ChatGPT launched. But not everyone has participated in the AI stock boom. The richest 20% of US households own about 93% of all stock, according to a New York University economist. In other words, poorer households have largely sat on the sidelines as the stock market has climbed higher, and this dynamic has helped to exacerbate the wealth gap in the US, according to economists. The top 1% own about half the $51 trillion of total corporate stock and mutual fund shares, according to most recent Federal Reserve data. The bottom 50% own just 1% of that wealth. Of course, AI isn't the only reason for the stock market's gains, nor is it the lone reason for wealth disparities in the US. But it does add to other tensions at play. A growing wealth gap may deepen the political divide and fuel a bifurcation in spending between the haves and the have-nots. And that has implications for the broader economy.
25 billion. Wow. Big wealth gap. Basically the thesis, the common man is not sharing in the gains of this AI boom in the economy that we've had in the stock market, at least.
Yeah, I think I'd like to draw a distinction between wealth and affordability. And if you look at, he was talking a lot about wealth, right? And wealth is like this cumulative thing, assets, savings, investments, stocks. But what we're facing is an affordability issue, which is immediate, which means I can't pay my bills, I can't do the groceries, I can't pay my rent. And the reason why that people are not, as a whole, participating in the stock market is the stock market is for wealthy people that don't have to worry about the immediate needs that they need to pay for. And that's the bigger, I think, concern about this is that only the wealthy can afford to invest in stocks, and the wealthy already have accumulated wealth, while the poor people, and I think we have some videos of a bunch of people talking about like what they're worried about, which is buying soda and bread. That I think is a bigger concern.
It's like a pyramid Maslow. You have the basic needs, and then they can think about the next level. So buying
Yeah.
stocks, it's like a next level of your wealth and your income level should be enough that you can invest part of this income to some stocks and to be sure, okay, if I lost it, it's all right. It's not any sequences for my family, children. I have food, I have bread for breakfast. So
Yeah. And
yes, it's at the next level, and how we can compare, it's different reality.
It's a self-perpetuating cycle too, because if you have generations that are handing down wealth, the wealth generates income, right? If you have big capital, it generates dividends and interest on the cash and so forth. And if you've only got a few thousand in a portfolio, or even zero, right? Or even you're in debt, so you can't even imagine this, right? But even if you have a small portfolio, $100,000 or less, right? The dividends and interest on that are like negligible. It's like few $100, few $1,000. But if you've got millions and millions of dollars, like, a 1% differential in interest or dividend payment is like a big deal. But that happens with accumulation of capital. So the poor, segments of society don't really share in that. So the wealth does affect income in that way, is what I'm saying. But I hear you. You're saying it's an affordability
You're
crisis.
such a rich guy. You're talking about $1 million and making
Yes.
1% on a million. Where I mean, if you show some of the clips that we gathered, they can't buy bread. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
accumulated wealth is wealth after after your taxes, right? The government gets that. Accumulated wealth is wealth after you pay for your groceries, your rent, your mortgage. I think you mentioned last week how many Americans don't even have $400. I know in Canada, I
It
think
was like
Canadian
half of
have.
Americans don't have $1,000 for an emergency, something like that.
Yeah, well, here in Canada, I think the number is I think 60 to 70% of Canadians are $400 or $600 away from declaring bankruptcy.
Yeah.
They just don't have it. So we're having these weird conversations about dividends and drips, and I think that's why it contributes to politics, right? Even in Europe, politics, like the common person is saying, "What are you guys talking about? Who cares about Nvidia stock? I can't
Hmm.
buy bread."
Why is everything so damn expensive.
I have 4 kids and I'm working 3 jobs and I'm still struggling.
You're struggling because prices have gone up tremendously, but the wages haven't.
You work and you work and you work and you work and you work.
Are we all having spaghetti for Thanksgiving? Because that's what I'm having.
The cost of living is nothing short of punitive. We were told that if we got a good education, we worked hard, or we got into the trades, that we could build a good life. That might have been the case at some point, but look around. It's simply not the case anymore.
It's a little bit controversial for each of them. I don't know what does the first guy, but a mother of 4, what she's expected. Children is expensive. Like, of course, even if she's alone without husband or rich relatives, it will be hard everywhere in each country. So it's not only her. 4 children, it's a lot of money. So 3 works, I agree. And again, the second thought, what came to me, it's not the reason. If you work hard, you should get more. Work smart. So I cannot agree with people who said, I work so much, why I'm not rich.
Oh boy. Oh, here we go.
You know what I noticed about that video though is the emotion. Is I noticed the range of emotions. The first guy is just like
social inequality and everything, but still.
No, but do you see the range of emotions that these people have? Like one of them is confused and outraged. He doesn't understand why is everything expensive. I really don't get it. You know, another person, she was like close to crying. She's like in despair. Another person is, you know, being sarcastic. Am I having spaghetti again? Right? Just like this range of emotions that everyday people have in response to, like we're talking about, buying bread, cooking Thanksgiving dinner, whatever. You know, that's what caught me about that video.
It's happening everywhere.
No, it happens everywhere, but that doesn't excuse the fact that there's a massive gap. You saw in the CNBC one where I forgot the numbers that they say, like the percentage of people who control the majority of the wealth. I'm like Warren Buffett. I don't think that there's this diabolical thing where the wealthy are plotting to kill all the poor people. But what he says is the system is disproportionate because it actually rewards peculiar talents. And peculiar talents mean people that have certain type of skill sets. And you see that with the wealthy, that they you know, maybe they started a company, or maybe they saw perspective, maybe they invented something. So they reward those people. But in what happens is there's so many more. They used to have a big middle class. We don't have that. We have a small amount of people who have a controlled wealth and inherited wealth also. And then a whole bunch of people down here that are just saying, hey, you know, there was a social contract that if we all work together, that we would have some sort of equality in how all of us access the basic needs of food. And that doesn't exist. It's not just America. It's happening in Italy. It's happening in Germany. It's happening. And we don't hear about it because that would cause the entire system to be unsettling. Because the last time somebody said, let them eat cake, we took her head off. So this is the problem.
Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, poor. Well, you know, she lived a good life. But, you know, it's funny how we all reacted to this. You said it's emotional. That's what you got from it. Elena got, well, you know what, you got to work hard. And I looked at it, bootstrapping it. And I looked at it and I'm like, I mean, I was different. I said, you know what, I'm fortunate. I do have a peculiar talent that I've used to my advantage. But I also know what it comes from when you don't have a lot of money. And you're at the end of the spectrum, whether it's because of you're a new immigrant, which my family was, or you know, you're someone of color, or you're a woman, or you're just disadvantaged that way. And you have to work. You have to really, and I understand what Elena's saying. It's like, hey, you got to work harder. But then I think sometimes that's a little thoughtless on my part, because maybe some people have other priorities. Maybe, you know, I don't know, but I think we just got a problem that's going to manifest in politics as well. That's what you're seeing with Donald Trump. That's what you're seeing in Italy. That's what you're seeing in Germany, that type of populism where the people are saying, hey, no one's listening to me. So I'm going to put somebody in power that's going to take care of me. Let's see what happens.
I do think we need to work smarter, like Elena said. I agree with that. You know, I think there's an issue around financial education in general.
Yes, this is what I want to say. We can start the easiest way to mitigate this kind of risk and avoid the video such, I don't understand why it's happening. Finance education since childhood.
Because I can explain to that guy in 5 minutes exactly why the prices are going up.
How inflation works, how that.
Tariffs, how it works. Yeah.